Week 3 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few pitchers I look to buy this week. The first pitcher, George Kirby of the Seattle Mariners. So far, it's been a mixed bag of results for Kirby in the early going. 20 and a third, 2-2 record, 19 Ks, a 6.64 ERA, a 1.33 WHIP, and 2 quality starts. So George Kirby, we know he has good stuff, no doubt about it. But so far this season, 2 good starts and 2 horrible starts. It's been for him. So maybe the Kirby owner, even after an encouraged outing, still isn't bought into Kirby 100%. They don't think he could turn things around, and you could get him on a discount because Kirby, he's been solid over the last couple seasons since he made his major league debut. April 3rd versus Cleveland, 3 2/3 got the loss. 10 hits, 8 runs, 2 Ks in that one. April 9th at Toronto, 4 innings, got the loss. 8 hits, 5 runs, 3 Ks. And then April 15th, a nice outing, 6 innings versus the Reds, got the win. 5 hits, 2 runs, 6 Ks, a quality start. So like I said, 2 good outings, 2 bad outings on the season here for George Kirby, and his upside is definitely over there. And the problem with him, too many pitches in the strike zone, but he mixed it up in the last outing, was George Kirby, where he was going out of the strike zone, mixing pitches, and hitters were starting to chase as well for the Cincinnati Reds. Coming off a good outing for Kirby, his value might have went up a little bit, but I still think you could get him on a discount because the ERA hasn't been good, and he got hit pretty well. Guardians, who I don't think their hitting's all that great, and obviously by the Blue Jays, where I think their hitting is good. So right now with Kirby being a 500 pitcher, and he's been up and down so far in the early going, I still think you could buy him low this week. Next pitcher I'd look to add is his teammate Luis Castillo of the Seattle Mariners. So Castillo was on the list last week, and once again back on this list, and it's been a bad year for him. 21 2/3, 0-4 record, 27 Ks, a 5.82 ERA, a 1.66 WHIP, and a quality start. The velocity's been down a little bit for Luis Castillo. The control's been off a little bit as well, but the strikeout rate is good, and the last outing he did go out there and pitch a good game. So I think Castillo definitely could bounce back. We've seen it in the past with him as well, where he started off slow, and then second half of the season he's been a good pitcher. So right now, like I said, off to a bad start, but his last outing was encouraging versus the Cubs in that one. April 2nd versus Cleveland, 5 2/3 got the loss. 4 hits, a walk, 7 Ks. April 8th at the Blue Jays, 5 innings, got the loss, 9 hits, 4 runs, a walk, 6 Ks. And then April 14th, a tough luck loser versus the Cubs, 6 innings, got the loss, 7 hits, 2 runs, 9 Ks, a quality start. So like I said, the strikeouts are encouraging, 15 strikeouts last 2 outings. He went 6 innings in that game. And Castillo, he's known at times to get off to a slow start early in the season and then bounce back towards the second half. So April 20th, he's penciled in his next outing at the Rockies, where obviously it's a hitter's ballpark over there in Coors Field, but they're still one of the bottom teams, in my opinion, in the National League is the Rockies. So I think Castillo, he could build off that last outing, get things going, and he's got ace-like stuff as Castillo. So right now, while it's been a bad start for him, he's a perfect buy low candidate because, like I said, once he could get things going, he's got upside to become an ace for your fantasy roster, and we've seen it in the past. The next pitcher, Pablo Lopez of the Minnesota Twins. So Pablo Lopez, so far this season, it's been a struggle for him. 16 2/3, 1-2 record, 16 Ks, a 4.86 ERA, a 1.20 WHIP, and a quality starts. I know last season he had a great year, was Pablo Lopez, but I thought he was drafted a little high in fantasy drafts going into the season. And so far this year, we really haven't seen much out of Lopez in the early going. Even though he is an innings eater, the strikeout rate will pick up, even though it's only averaging 1 strikeout per inning right now. Is Pablo Lopez, and I know he's not on that great of a team, but he plays in a division where there's not many great hitting teams. You got the Tigers in the division where they're not great. Cleveland's offense is hit or miss for the most part. White Sox, one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in all Major League Baseball. So I think he could bounce back and get things going. I know there's a tough matchup today at the Baltimore Orioles, who are one of the better teams in the league, but I think Pablo Lopez, after this outing, could get things going and bounce back. March 28th at the Royals, 7 innings, got the win, 4 hits, a run, 7 Ks, a quality start. April 4th versus the Guardians, 5 2/3, got the loss, 6 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 2 Ks. And April 12th at the Tigers, in that one, 4 innings, got the loss, 6 hits, 5 runs, 3 walks, 7 Ks. So far, all his matchups have been in the AL Central versus these teams. And like I said, it's a weak hitting division, but the Guardians and the Tigers did just hit him pretty well for Lopez. But like I said, I think he bounces back. He's got good stuff. Last season was a great year for him. And right now, well, he's struggling. He's a buy low pitcher this week. The next pitcher, Hester Cortez of the New York Yankees. So Cortez, he's on one of the best teams in the league with the New York Yankees. But overall, his numbers are middle of the pack, 1-1 record, 22 innings, 19 Ks, a 4.5 ERA, a 1.14 WHIP, and a quality start. So Cortez, last season injuries played him, no doubt about it. And so far this season, we really haven't seen much out of Cortez besides one good outing versus the Miami Marlins, who are the worst team in the league right now. So Cortez is definitely a buy low candidate. He's going to get a lot of run support from this offense with the New York Yankees, obviously, even though they're in a tough division, and you're going to be versing good hitting teams in the Toronto Blue Jays, in the Baltimore Orioles, in the Tampa Bay Rays, who always find a way to make the playoffs, or at least at the end of the season are in the wild card race. 2 games for Cortez, April 2nd at the D-backs, 5 innings, got the loss, 8 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 2 Ks. April 8th versus the Marlins, 8 innings, got the win, 2 hits, no runs, 6 Ks, a quality start. April 14th of the Guardians, 4 innings in that one, 5 hits, 4 runs, a walk, 6 Ks. So like I said, Cortez, for the most part, it's pretty much been 3 bad outings and 1 good outing versus a bad team and one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in the league. So April 20th is his next outing as of now versus the Tampa Bay Rays. And we'll see if Cortez can bounce back. But like I said, we'll run support. And Cortez a couple years ago had a great season. I think he could get things going once again. And as a buy low candidate, 5th and final pitcher I look to buy and trade for is Yu Darvish of the San Diego Padres. So Yu Darvish last season wasn't a great year for him as well. 8-10 record, 136 in the third, 4.56 ERA, 141 Ks, only 10 quality starts. And so far this season, 23 and 2/3, 0-1 record, 22 Ks, a 4.18 ERA, 1.27 WHIP, and a quality start. So Yu Darvish off to a slow start once again. But Darvish, another pitcher where he goes through peaks and valleys, where there's months where he's lights out and one of the better pitchers in fantasy baseball, and there's months where he's middle of the pack to one of the worst pitchers in the league. So like I said, Darvish so far off to a slow start. April 2nd versus the Cardinals, 7 innings, got the loss, 5 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 6 Ks, a quality start. April 8th versus the Cubs, his former team, 3 innings in that one, 4 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, 4 Ks. And April 14th at the Dodgers, 5 innings, no decision, 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 2 Ks. So already 5 starts under the belt for Yu Darvish this season. And obviously they started earlier with this Padre team with the overseas ball game versus the Dodgers a week earlier. So right now, Darvish, he's been struggling. I still like this Padre team as a team, obviously, that could hit the baseball, give him run support. And they did win the last ball game. He did pitch with no decision, only going 5 innings. I know Darvish, he's up there in age a little bit. A lot of miles on his arm, pitching in Japan, then coming over, obviously, to the major leagues. And right now, his next outing is April 20th versus the Blue Jays. But Darvish, like I said, there's months where he buckles down and he could be one of the better pitchers in fantasy baseball, even though last season he didn't really show that. So right now, well, Darvish, he's not pitching great, and he's been in the middle of the pack to a bad pitcher in the early going. He's a buy low pitcher this week, so that's a few pitchers I look to buy and trade for week 3 of the fantasy baseball season.